Chapter 1468. I am also your guardian beast here. As long as you are in danger, I will rush over to protect you immediately. But at the same time I am also the leader of the birds tribe. I have responsibilities and obligations that I cannot shirk from. Unless the Moda Mountains disappear, I will have to guard this place forever. Gregory's hand involuntarily caressed Gu Mingming's face. If you are willing, you can take some time out to visit me every year. There is no shortage of water during the dry season. You can come over during the dry season to avoid the summer heat. We can stay in the cave at the border that you stayed in previously. It's much lower than here, so you won't have altitude sickness. I can also fly up with Elvis and Leah. Gu Mingming fell silent. She did not know why, but she just felt uncomfortable. She looked at Gregory dejectedly and asked, "Gregory, must you turn me into such a scumbag, huh?" Gregory looked at Gu Mingming in confusion. His heart ached for her frowning, sad look. Gu Mingming said, "I took your status but refused to mate with you. I am in the wrong and I owe you. But you have to give me a chance to make it up to you, right? I've already thought it through. I will treat you like family. In the future, as long as I, Gu Mingming, have a bite to eat, I will not let you starve. But what about you? You actually intend to stay alone on the Moda Mountains. I have only sat here for half a day today and I already feel so lonely. You want me to leave you here for half a year and then come over to accompany you for 2 to 3 months during the dry season? What should I do for the rest of the time? Every day, I will think that Gregory must be sitting alone at the entrance of the cave, gazing into the distance. He must be waiting for me, right? Since I cannot stay on the Moda Mountains to accompany him, why did I agree to let him be my guardian beast in the first place?" Gu Mingming looked up. Her eyes were misty as she pleaded softly, "I cannot stand it. I will be tortured to death by guilt. Gregory, let's leave together after we get the love of the sky. Just like what we have been doing these few days, living together with Elvis and Leah, alright? I will treat you well, really." Gregory gently touched the feather earring on Gu Mingming's right ear. He smiled and said, "Silly girl. Mm." Gu Mingming grabbed onto Gregory's arm and begged, "Please?" Gregory shook his head slightly, but his lips were still curled up. "I asked you to come over to Moda Mountains during the dry season to avoid the heat, but I didn't say that I won't look for you when you don't come up. I also regret that I can't be by your side every day, but I have obligations and responsibilities that I must fulfill. Fortunately, I am the clan leader, so I have the privilege to go down the mountain. Therefore, as long as there are no major events in the clan, I will definitely go down the mountain to find you when I have the time." He would not foolishly sit at the entrance of the cave and wait foolishly. Have you forgotten? I've told you before, you don't have to stand there and wait for me. No matter how much distance there is between us, I'll cross it. I'll always be by your side. Really? Gu Mingming was skeptical. Gregory smiled and asked, "Do I have to swear?" Gu Mingming shook her head and said, No, I will believe you. Don't swear, I have a phobia about swearing." Gregory nodded with a smile and said, "Then I won't swear." Chapter 1469. Gregory nodded, his brow still furrowed. "This kind of thing has never happened before. I really have no experience. Moreover, you were the one who sent Miranda up the mountain, so I want to hear your opinion." Gu Mingming clicked her tongue. "Bring me to see her." Gregory glanced outside and said awkwardly, "The wind outside is very strong and it's very cold. Moreover, I'm afraid you'll feel uncomfortable again when you come back up." Gu Mingming shook her head. "It's alright, I'm already used to this height. It won't be so uncomfortable if I come back up again. Moreover, if Miranda really got pregnant during winter, I really can't sit back and do nothing." Gregory didn't ask any more questions. He just took out another set of beast skin and wrapped it tightly around Gu Mingming before placing it on his back. He then tore the beast skin into wide strips, before tying Gu Mingming onto his back without affecting her comfort. This was to prevent her from slipping off his back when she fainted again. If it was in the past, he would probably confidently say, "I can catch you no matter how many times you fall." But now, he couldn't take the risk. Even if there was a 1 in a billion chance of her getting hurt, he didn't dare to try. To be honest, Gregory's method of tying her up was quite comfortable. Of course, Gu Mingming wasn't a masochist. She just felt a sense of security from being tied up, just like wearing a seatbelt when riding on a roller coaster. After everything was settled, Gregory carried Gu Mingming to the entrance of the cave. Before flying, he reminded her, "If you feel uncomfortable, tell me immediately. Don't force yourself, understand?" "Yeah." Gu Mingming agreed readily. Gregory moved his shoulders before flapping his wings and flying off. Gregory's feathers completely covered Gu Mingming, so she couldn't see what was happening outside. She only knew that Gregory was flying extremely steadily. Every time he flapped his wings, she could clearly feel the veins in his muscles expanding and contracting clearly and forcefully. Her body froze. Gu Mingming knew that Gregory had landed. The feathers shrunk into Gregory's skin in front of her eyes. She was tied up on his back like a giant baby. How should she put it? The image of the messenger of the beast deity was basically ruined. It was estimated that the birds who saw her today would never see her as a goddess for the rest of their lives. Wang or Hua from the next class might even look better than her now. Gregory untied the beast skin rope and peeled off the beast skin layer by layer like he was peeling an onion. Then a steaming hot Gu Mingming was revealed. Her pale face was flushed red, but it was hard to tell if it was from the heat or embarrassment. Struggling to crawl out of the beast's skin, Gu Mingming had already given up on herself. Anyway, her image could not be salvaged no matter how many times she pretended to be cold and aloof. Gu Mingming had completely given up on trying to regain her dignity. Miranda was obviously shocked when she saw Gu Mingming. She stood there in a daze and did not dare to move until she saw Gu Mingming turn around to look at her. She then retreated backwards as if she had seen a ghost. She shook her head and said with a trembling voice, I am very obedient. I have always been in Moda Mountains and have never left. Please let me go. I will never dare to pester Aya again. I did not go out. I did not. Chapter 1470. Glancing at the 9 males surrounding Miranda, Gu Mingming did not need to guess to know who they were. Even if the Moda Mountains did not exit the beast world, those who could enter a cave with a female so openly must be partners. Didn't they see Gregory automatically retreating to a protruding rock outside the cave after sending Gu Mingming off? Gu Mingming patted her and said, Obedient? Why do I feel that you are not very obedient? Gu Mingming did not stand on ceremony and directly sat beside Miranda. She gently touched Miranda's stomach with her little hand, as if she was caressing it. Miranda was so frightened that her entire body was trembling. Her eyes were filled with tears as she looked at her partner pitifully. She seemed to be pleading for help as she shouted, Lucas? Lucas? After all, she was his female and he treated her like a precious treasure. Seeing how scared she was, Lucas' heart ached even more. He took a step forward and said, Great messenger, Miranda is timid and she is pregnant now you? Gu Mingming turned back and smiled at Lucas, asking, What did I do? I just came over to see her after knowing she is pregnant. But Lucas was a bird after all and had an almost blind loyalty to the beast deity. Gu Mingming was the messenger of the beast deity, he naturally had to bow down to her. And Gu Mingming really did not do anything overboard. She only touched Miranda's stomach. So even though Lucas' heart ached, he could not say anything else and could only look at Gu Mingming with a troubled expression. Gu Mingming did not care at all. Not only did she not retract her hand, she even crossed her legs and sat on the bed, facing Miranda. She said, You don't have to be afraid because it is useless to be afraid. If I really want to do something to you, even if all the males in this room join hands, they won't be able to stop me. These words were true enough. After all, unless there was a beast king among the 9 of them, even 9 5th-level beasts would not be Gu Mingming's match. Back then, I did not hand you over to Cole and sent you to the Moda Mountains because I wanted to save your life. If I wanted to harm you, I did not have to dirty my own hands. As long as I ignored you, Cole would naturally not let you off. Oh, you still don't know? He is now the beast king of the fox tribe. At the mention of Cole, Miranda trembled even more violently. Gu Mingming narrowed her eyes and lightly tapped on Miranda's tummy. This child is Cole's? Miranda's eyes were starting to lose focus. It was obvious that she had yet to recover from the previous news and was shocked by the news that Cole had become the Fox King. They were once love rivals and had played tricks in front of Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming knew that she was not a White Lotus bitch, but her pitiful state made it hard for others to harden their hearts and make things difficult for her. Putting aside her pestering Leah, Gu Mingming had actually gone overboard with regards to Miranda. That was why Gu Mingming had sent Miranda to Moda Mountains. Firstly, it was to prevent her from pestering Leah. Secondly, it was to protect her life. Now that she no longer pestered Leah, the conflict of interest between her and Gu Mingming would no longer exist. Gu Mingming still had some basic sympathy towards people who were not a threat. After all, even public buses knew to prepare seats for the elderly, the sick, the disabled and pregnant. Gu Mingming would never mistreat a pregnant woman. Chapter 1471. Moreover, even if he really came up, he would not be a match for your partners in the sky. Gu Mingming spoke slowly, trying her best to calm Miranda's emotions. Moreover, don't you still have me? Since I want to protect you, he will not be able to touch you. Miranda's eyes then slowly focused. She looked at Gu Mingming, then at Lucas. She called out in a sobbing tone, "Lucas? Yeah, I'm here." Lucas's heart ached terribly. He only dared to go to Miranda's side after getting Gu Mingming's permission. He hugged her in his arms. With Lucas hugging her, Miranda's emotions gradually calmed down. It was obvious that Miranda had become very sensitive and uneasy after being imprisoned without seeing the light of day. Lucas and the rest must have treated her extremely well for her to develop such a degree of reliance on them. Seeing that Miranda had gradually calmed down, Gu Mingming then continued to ask, "Is the child in your stomach his?" Gu Mingming avoided mentioning Cole's name, but she knew that Miranda would definitely understand. Miranda hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "What do you need me to do for you to let me off? As long as the child is born, I will kill him. In that case, can you let me stay on Moda Mountains with Lucas and the rest?" Gu Mingming frowned. She knew that females in the beast world were used to being selfish. Other than themselves, the lives of others were not worth much. But she thought that as a mother she should have the most basic maternal love. She knew that in Miranda's eyes she might be a demon that was scarier than Cole. But she thought that she would at least try to protect her child. She was more or less disappointed with the coldness of the beast world. "He wants this child, do you know that?" Gu Mingming's attitude also turned colder. Initially, Gu Mingming did not understand why Cole had asked Gregory to send him to Moda Mountains. Now that she thought about it, it was clear. One of the 7 treasures, the key of the Beast King. Cole could not wait for Gu Mingming to give birth to a child with the bloodline of the Beast King before snatching it away. So he wanted to give birth to one himself. He probably knew that Gu Mingming had sent Miranda to the Moda Mountains, so he couldn't wait to snatch her away. I know he wants to eat this child." Miranda nodded stiffly and said, Then after I give birth, I'll get Lucas to send the child to him. He won't come looking for me anymore, right?" Gu Mingming sighed and said, "You don't have to go through so much trouble. After you give birth, give the child to me. I will tell Cole that this child is in my hands. If he has the ability, let him snatch it from me." Miranda looked at Gu Mingming blankly. Gu Mingming did not want to explain so much and just said, "He snatched my son away, so I snatched him away too. It's very fair." "All right." Miranda did not hesitate to agree to Gu Mingming's request. Gu Mingming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Miranda. She just glanced at Lucas and instructed, "Go to the stream at the edge of Moda Mountains to get the food for the delivery from a white tiger. After the child is born, send it to me." Lucas looked at Miranda, and when he saw her nod, he replied, "Okay." Gu Mingming did not stay any longer. She got Gregory to bring her back to their original cave. Digression. Today's update has ended. Chapter 1472. You really want to raise Miranda's child? After returning to the cave, Gregory asked hesitantly. Gu Mingming lowered her head and said, "I want to open the doors of time and space and need the key of the Beast King. Using someone else's child is better than using my own." Gu Mingming admitted that she was selfish. She wanted to kill Cole at the same time she opened the doors of time and space to completely eliminate the hidden danger that threatened Qixuan's life. Using someone else's child to exchange for her own child was despicable, shameless and inhumane. But, as long as she could protect her child, she would not even bat an eyelid even if she had to wade through a wok of boiling oil, not to mention going to hell after death. The greatness of a mother's love was precisely because it was sufficiently selfish. Gu Mingming could have disguised her motives and said in a dignified manner that it was for Miranda's good. Without this child by Miranda's side, Cole would not have any reason to pester her anymore. She could also say in a saintly manner that she could not bear for this child to be abandoned so easily by Miranda, so she placed him by her side to raise him. But she did not. Perhaps this was Gu Mingming's last shred of dignity. "I am despicable and I admit it. After doing something that deserved to be spurned, there was no need to put on an aggrieved look. In this world, no one would put themselves in your shoes and think for you. So those sorrows should be left to cry at night when no one else was around. After crying, stand up strong and face all the blame." This was what a mother should do. Regarding the matter between Gu Mingming and Cole, as well as the matter regarding the doors of time and space, after confirming Gregory's identity, Leah and Elvis no longer avoided him when talking to Gu Mingming. Sometimes they would even specially explain to him, so Gregory had a rough idea of what was going on. Tightening his embrace around Gu Mingming, Gregory said in a low voice, The weak are prey to the strong, survival of the fittest. This is the principle of the beast world. You did not do anything wrong, don't be sad. I'm not sad. Gu Mingming straightened her neck and refused to admit defeat. Gregory placed his hands on Gu Mingming's shoulders and looked straight into her eyes. His gaze was not sharp, but as calm as spring water, yet it had the power to see through one's heart. A bird's eyes are the sharpest. Your disguise can't fool me, there's no need to hide yourself in front of me. Although we are not partners, I am still your male. I will always stand on your side and think for you. As long as it's good for you, it's right to me. Gu Mingming pursed her lips and did not say anything. There was an emotion that was hard to describe. Before you do something, you already know that you will be despised by the whole world, and you are prepared to bear the consequences of being despised by others. So when the whole world is throwing rotten leaves at you, you can grit your teeth and tell yourself in your heart, I don't regret it, everything I've endured is worth it. But at this moment, someone suddenly appeared in front of you, hugging you in a warm embrace and telling you in a soft voice, don't be afraid, I'm here and I believe in you. When this person appeared, the high walls in your heart would crumble, then your grievances and frailty would leak out. Gu Mingming wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and choked, you might as well despise me, why must you make me so miserable? It's rare for me to make up my mind to be a bad woman. Chapter 1473. There were still 3 days before the wind would stop at Moda Mountains. Gu Mingming had been depressed for most of the night because of Miranda and the child in her womb. In the end, Gregory had to hum a song to coax her to sleep. This was the first time Gu Mingming had experienced such a way of sleeping. Perhaps her mother had coaxed her like this when she was young? But ever since her parents divorced at the age of 4, she, an orphan with both parents, had never received such treatment. Elvis and Leah treated her very well, but not being able to sing was not something that could be forced. After all, if the two of them were to howl for the entire night, it would be quite miserable and she would probably not be able to sleep. There was a tint of red in the sky and Gregory's eyes were tinged with warmth. Gu Mingming had slept in his arms for 3 consecutive nights. These 3 nights, he could not bear to close his eyes for even a minute, afraid that he would miss every breath she took and every faint smile she had in her dreams. Gu Mingming instinctively moved closer to the warmth and snuggled deeper into Gregory's arms. Gregory's large hands hugged Gu Mingming's back, hugging her even tighter. He liked her unconsciously moving closer and her defenseless sleeping face in his arms. Although it was a little despicable, Gregory still secretly kissed Gu Mingming's cheek. Humans should not do bad things. He kissed her without permission. Although it was just a light peck on her cheek, Gregory felt his heart pounding deafeningly. And the person in his arms seemed to be unhappy that his loud heartbeat was disturbing her sleep, so she frowned slightly and rubbed her little face against his chest. Only then did she continue to sleep at that relatively comfortable place. This small action shocked Gregory so much that he held his breath. It was not an overstatement to say that he was already thinking about what he should do if Gu Mingming abandoned him because of his secret kiss. Luckily, Gu Mingming's even and light breathing could be heard after a while. Only then did Gregory let out a long sigh of relief. He carried Gu Mingming to the entrance of the cave, wrapped her in a beast skin and hugged her tightly in his arms. Patting her little face lightly, he called out gently, "Wake up, I have a present for you." "Yeah." Gu Mingming replied in a daze, but her eyes were still closed. "There's really a present, wake up?" Gregory whispered into Gu Mingming's ear. He knew she had a temper when she got up, but he really wanted her to see it once. Groaning, Gu Mingming opened her eyes. Just as she was about to complain about Gregory disturbing her sleep, she was stunned by the sight before her. The orange-red morning sun slowly rose and the warm sunlight shone on the Mota Mountains, adding a layer of gentle warmth to the pure white snow. Tiny spots of light shone in the snow, like a vast expanse of fine golden sand. It was extremely beautiful. The first ray of sunlight in the morning is for you. Gregory's gaze was fixated on Gu Mingming's little face. He did not miss her change from feeling wronged for not having enough sleep to astonishment. His smile was gentle and blissful. It was nice of her to like his gift. Her smile at this moment was blossoming because of him. So beautiful. Gu Mingming could not help but exclaim. "Not as good as you," Gregory replied instinctively. Gregory spoke too softly and the wind at the entrance of the cave was too strong, so Gu Mingming did not hear what Gregory said. But even so, this was the first morning that Gu Mingming did not lose her temper after waking up naturally. Strangely, the first ray of sunlight in the morning brightened Gu Mingming's heart, as if all the dark clouds had been swept away. Aside from the topic, after hesitating for a long time, she still reminded her babies not to like Gregory too much. Chapter 1474. Are you in a good mood? Gregory asked tentatively. Gu Mingming nodded and stood up from Gregory's arms. She stretched lazily and walked into the cave. As she walked, she said, "In the past when I was working, I often had to wake up very early. That was because I had no other choice. Therefore at that time I had a wish. When I had money in the future, I would wake up naturally every day and never wake up early. In the end, I didn't have money, but I had Elvis and Leah. The title of the messenger of the beast deity fulfilled my wish of sleeping as long as I wanted. I would throw a tantrum at whoever dared to wake me up." As Gu Mingming spoke, she had already sat by the side of the bonfire. She wrapped herself in a beast skin and sat by the fire to warm herself. Then she hugged her knees and swayed her body. She smiled sweetly as she recalled the past and continued, "Do you know? Elvis and Leia know I have a bad temper, so they never wake me. And there was one time when a female in the tribe made a ruckus at my door early in the morning, disturbing my sleep. I angrily went out and beat her up. The two of them didn't beat the females, but they beat up all the males in the female's family until they were half dead. From then on, no one dared to disturb my sleep." Gregory had already walked to Gu Mingming's side. He added 4 to 5 ice cups into the pot and boiled it for Gu Mingming to wash and drink. Gu Mingming said as she watched, "But today is an exception. The sunrise is just too beautiful." The sun lit up the entire sky bit by bit. Every step was difficult, but who could stop daybreak? My father had always told me that what the previous messenger of the beast deity brought to the beast world was faith, while what I wanted to bring to the beast world was hope. But I didn't know what hope was. Could it be that eating, drinking, and having fun with my partner every day was called hope? Can't be. Today my confusion seems to have suddenly cleared up. I'm not the sun and I don't have boundless radiance. However, my existence itself is hope. Gregory did not interrupt Gu Mingming. He liked to listen to her speak. Anything was fine. To him, her voice was the most beautiful movement, the most beautiful melody. No matter how much she chattered, he listened to her every word very carefully. Even though the past had nothing to do with him, as long as it was related to her, he was interested. No matter what difficulties you encounter, no matter what pain you feel, even if you feel that you can't take it anymore and can't hold on any longer. At times like this they would think, "It's okay, we still have the messenger of the beast deity. No matter how difficult it is, we have to hold on because she will definitely come to save us." The so-called sadness meant that even though it was difficult, it would eventually pass. Once we get through the most difficult times, everything will get better. Even if I didn't appear, they would still push the credit to me, saying that it was the messenger of the beast deity who gave them hope and allowed them to get through those hardships. Wasn't it a little shameless to say that? It seems like I'm overestimating myself. Gregory scooped some warm water from the pot for Gu Mingming to wash up. As he watched her rinse her mouth, he said, "Don't undervalue yourself." Chapter 1475. Gu Mingming was stunned for a moment before she burst out laughing. She could not be blamed for being smitten. It was really too weird, too funny and too mushy for Gregory to say such romantic words with a serious tone, as if he was reciting the mind-cleansing incantation. "You said that in your world there's a phrase called reciprocity?" Gregory ignored Gu Mingming's silly smile. Anyway, no matter what she did, she would always be cute in his eyes. Gu Mingming nodded as a reply to Gregory's question. Gregory lowered his eyelids and chuckled, "I feel that this phrase is very good, I like it very much." Gu Mingming looked at Gregory in confusion. Gregory felt a little awkward but still said, "I gave you a present that you like, shouldn't you return a present that makes me feel better?" Gu Mingming opened the beast's skin and said, "You saw it too, I don't have anything on me now, so I can't take out a present. But I can remember it first, after we descend the mountain, I will also prepare a present for you, how about that?" Gregory shook his head and said, "I want it now. But I don't have anything now." Gu Mingming shrugged her shoulders helplessly. "You do," Gregory said with certainty. The corner of Gu Mingming's mouth twitched and she looked troubled. "Didn't we agree not to mate? Could this Gregory be? What do you want? Tell me first." Gu Mingming had already thought of herself as romantic once, and did not want to do it again, so she felt that it was better to clarify things first. Gregory's face was slightly red, and there was a suspicious shade of pink on his ears. "Since I already have a status, shouldn't you give me something special?" Seeing Gregory's bashful look, Gu Mingming's heart skipped a beat. She took 2 steps back and wrapped the beast's skin even tighter around herself. She said defensively, "Gregory, we have been getting along well these few days, but I treat you as family. That matter, I can't do it." Gregory looked at Gu Mingming's guarded expression and his gaze dimmed. He lowered his head and said in disappointment, "All right. Since you are not willing, then I will be like everyone else and keep calling you Gu Mingming." Wait a minute. Gu Mingming blinked her eyes. In a daze, she felt that she was imagining things again, so she asked, "What do you want special?" "Name." Grace spat out the 2 words in low spirits. Gu Mingming held her forehead and relaxed. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. That's right, how could she forget? The males in the beast world liked to give their females nicknames that were similar to nicknames. Leah called her Ming Ming, Elvis called her Xiao Ming, Snake called her Tu Ming, and even that pervert Cole called her Agu. Having a nickname that belonged exclusively to a male was a great affirmation and satisfaction for a male. Oriton didn't have one because he didn't need it. He didn't need anything other than stewed meat. Gu Mingming rubbed herself against Gregory and proactively leaned on his shoulder. She smiled and said, "I thought you were going to say something. Wasn't it just a name?" "Yes, of course. What do you want to call me?" "Is it really possible?" Gregory's eyes lit up when he saw hope after falling to the bottom of the abyss. Gu Mingming nodded and said, "Sure, go ahead. I can accept anything as long as it's not too disgusting." Gregory pursed his lips and said hesitantly, "Baby Meng?" Chapter 1476. Gu Mingming means the most precious treasure. Gregory added, his tone filled with caution. Gu Mingming herself felt embarrassed. Not the most precious treasure. No? The anticipation in Gregory's eyes was so obvious that it made Gu Mingming feel like she would be committing treason if she said no. Nodding, she said, "All right, as long as you like it." Gregory smiled, smiling so blissfully. "Baby Meng." "Yeah. Baby Meng." Sigh. "Baby Meng." There were still 2 days before the wind stopped. Gregory told Gu Mingming that Elvis and Leah had already reached the foot of the mountain. They found a cave there that could shelter them from the wind and temporarily settled down with Wabi. They could leave together after Gu Mingming retrieved the love of the sky 2 days later. Gu Mingming wanted to go down the mountain to see Elvis and Leah. She had not seen them for 4 days. This was the first time she had been separated from them for such a long time since they became partners. Gregory hesitated for a moment, but still shook his head. "You will be leaving after retrieving the love of the sky the day after tomorrow. Accompany me for these 2 days, all right?" Recalling what Gregory had said that day, Gu Mingming hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. Gregory would not leave with her. He was lonely most of the year and she could not even guarantee that she would accompany him during the dry season every year. And how many chances did he really have to go down the mountain to look for her? She could not even bear to be separated from Elvis and Leah for 4 days. Then what would Gregory do in the future? Forget it, she would just accompany him for these 2 days. Gregory hugged Gu Mingming and sat by the fire. He reached out a hand and asked, "Can I hold your hand for a while?" Gu Mingming placed her little hand in his. Turning back, she saw the happiness in Gregory's eyes almost flowing out. Gu Mingming laughed softly. Gregory's cold and aloof persona had completely collapsed. He was practically a young boy experiencing his first awakening of love. Even the smallest things could make him extremely happy. "Your hand is so beautiful." Gu Mingming pulled Gregory's hand over in surprise and scrutinized it repeatedly. She said, "I always thought that Lee's hand was the prettiest, just like a scholar's, slender and well-proportioned. But yours is different. It's more masculine with distinct joints and smooth contours. Not only is this thin callus not a flaw, it also makes one feel safe. If Lee's hand is the hand that holds books, then your hand is the hand that holds the sword, one hand holding the sword while the other holding the wine, roaming the pugilistic world in fresh clothes." Gregory had never felt that there was anything special about his hands, but when Gu Mingming singled it out and praised it, he started to take note of it. He had to take good care of these hands in the future. After all, it was what she liked. "I don't want to hold the sword, I only want to hold you." Gregory held Gu Mingming's hand and kissed it. After kissing her, he realized that he had crossed the line. Then he looked at Gu Mingming's expression anxiously. Seeing that she was not angry, he felt much more at ease. He smiled faintly and said, "Forever. Then after I get the love of the sky, follow me down the mountain. If you stay on the mountain, how can you hold me forever?" Gu Mingming made use of the pretext to make a fuss. She did not give up on persuading Gregory to leave with her. Instead, she wanted to make use of every possibility to kidnap Gregory. Chapter 1477. Gregory smiled but didn't reply. He just kissed the back of Gu Mingming's hand again. Even if it was just the back of her hand, it was a great comfort and happiness for Gregory to be allowed to kiss her openly. As long as I think of you in my heart, it will be for the rest of my life. With that, Gregory held Gu Mingming's hand with one hand and placed the other on her shoulder. I still have to make a trip to the stream. Firstly, it is to collect your food for today. Secondly, it is to introduce Lucas to Oriton. You know how protective Oriton is. I am afraid that Oriton will not give Lucas anything if he goes alone. Gu Mingming nodded. Then she grinned. Then hurry back. I will wait for you at home. 2 key words. One home and the other wait. Gregory's chest tightened. He held Gu Mingming's hand and kissed it. Then, he reluctantly let go of her and spread his wings to fly off. Gu Mingming sat by the fire. She used the tree sap to poke at the fire to make it burn brighter. The smile on her face gradually faded. Her left hand clutched at her heart. Gu Mingming felt that something was making her uneasy. By right, everything should be progressing in a good direction. 2 days later the wind stopped. Gregory brought her to retrieve the love of the sky. Elvis and Leah had already safely reached the foot of the mountain with Wabi. There didn't seem to be any problems. Miranda was pregnant with a child with the bloodline of the Beast King. Although she didn't know how to open that door, she would try her best to protect that child. Cole could not ascend the Moda Mountains. He would definitely not cause any trouble when retrieving the love of the sky. Saint Nazir had Barit, Zacharias had Peter. Although Sauter had Cole, who was like a ticking time bomb, Leah had already made the appropriate arrangements. Moreover, Hutta and Jiaoyu were not only protected by Sandy's family, but also by the entire Wolf clan and the 16 tribes. Even Cole would not be able to do anything to them in a short period of time. So what was she worried about? What had she missed out? Why did she feel so uneasy? Gu Mingming sat there in a daze. She was still in a daze when Gregory returned. Grace took the burnt resin from her hand and threw it into the fire. He hugged her gently and asked, "What's wrong?" Gu Mingming snapped out of her trance and quickly collected her thoughts. She smiled and said, "You're back." "Yes." Gregory tidied up the beast's skin on Gu Mingming and looked at her worriedly. "What were you thinking about just now? You didn't even realize I was back." Gu Mingming lowered her head and said, "Nothing, I just suddenly felt a little uneasy. Say, do you think there will be any problems with us obtaining the love of the sky?" Gregory hugged her even tighter and placed his chin on the top of her head, telling her in a mellow voice, "Don't worry, I'm here." Gu Mingming nodded and chuckled. "By right, I am the Beast King and you are a 3rd-level beast. I should be stronger than you. But strangely, when you hug me like this, I feel very at ease. That little bit of panic is gone in an instant. Alright, in the future, whenever you feel uneasy, I will hug you like this." Gregory replied with a smile, his gaze gentle and determined. Tomorrow was the day the wind would stop. Gu Mingming leaned against the cave entrance and gazed into the distance. Chapter 1478. Gregory's voice resonated with his chest, shaking Gu Mingming's eardrums. "Still worried?" "He's been absent-minded since yesterday." Gu Mingming nodded. Looking at the night sky, she said helplessly, "Yeah, the sky is already dark. An entire day has passed. I don't even know what I am worried about, but I just feel very uneasy." Gregory remained silent for a moment before asking hesitantly, "In the past, what did Elvis and Leah do when you felt uneasy?" Gu Mingming was taken aback. She shook her head and said, "I am not a sentimental person. This is the first time I have felt uneasy for no reason." Gregory sighed softly and said, "So, should I feel honored? The first time you felt uneasy for no reason, I was the one accompanying you." Gu Mingming was amused by Gregory's words. She said, "Why don't you tell me about your childhood? I can divert my attention and maybe everything will be fine." "Childhood?" Gregory countered. Gu Mingming nodded and said, "I have been here for the past few days. I feel that although the scenery on Moda Mountains is unique and majestic, but after looking at it for 10 years, the mountains are no longer mountains and the snow is no longer snow. How did you live your life in the past? I'm a little curious." Gregory thought about it seriously, then shook his head and said with a bitter smile, "I forgot." "Forgot?" Gu Mingming could not help but ask curiously. Gregory nodded and replied, "I have thought about it seriously. All my memories seem to have started from the first time I saw you in solder. Then how did I spend the first 10 long years of my life? Other than flying day and night. I don't remember anything else. Gregory tightened his grip on Gu Mingming's arm. He chuckled and said, "This feeling is quite good. My life started from the moment I met you. So you are my everything. And now that I am hugging you, my life is complete." Gu Mingming smiled and said, "I am so important and you are not leaving with me?" Gregory sighed and did not reply to Gu Mingming. He just pointed at the night sky and said, "Isn't the night sky beautiful from here?" Gu Mingming knew that he was intentionally changing the topic and did not expose him. She just nodded and said, "Yeah, very beautiful. In my world, the air pollution is very serious, especially in S City where I live. There are almost no stars at night. It's weird, I've been in the beast world for more than 4 years but I've never had a chance to look at the stars properly. Since we've reached the top today, why don't you accompany me to see if there are any constellations that I can recognize?" "All right. I will accompany you." Gregory's gaze landed on Gu Mingming's face the entire time. How could the starlight compare to her brilliance? Gu Mingming gestured for a long time but could not even find the Big Dipper. She sighed and shook her head, saying, "When I was in school I could just open my mouth and talk about horoscopes and whatnot. But in the end I couldn't even recognize a single star." Gregory didn't mind. He just smiled and said, "What's so important about knowing each other? It's fine as long as it looks good." Gu Mingming nodded in agreement. "I like people like you who still help me out when I fail to act cool." Gu Mingming chuckled and said, "I can't recognize all the stars but I do know a few stories about them. Let me tell you a story as compensation." Chapter 1479. After thinking for a while, Gu Mingming pointed casually and said, "There was once a fairy who was curious about the things in the mortal world, so she secretly went down to the mortal world to travel. In the mortal world she fell in love with a man, a male. The fairy's mother was furious when she found out about it. She probably felt that her family's diamond-studded 24K pure gold cabbage was stolen by a wild boar of unknown origin. So she brought the fairy back to the heavenly court and forbade the two of them from meeting." Gregory nodded and said, "If our daughter falls in love with a wild boar, I won't be happy either." Gu Mingming, wild boar was just a metaphor, all right? Moreover, where did our daughter come from? She already said she wouldn't mate with him. Seeing that Gu Mingming's expression was not good, Gregory hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. "Of course, if you agree, I have no objections. But it's best not to be the first partner. Females from the bird's tribe should at least find their first partner within the tribe." The more Gregory spoke, the more he seemed to be serious. Gu Mingming was momentarily speechless and could not even be bothered to refute him. Seeing that Gu Mingming was not saying anything, Gregory thought that Gu Mingming had silently agreed to it. He was very happy, not because he had the right to speak on the issue of female partners, but because the fact that he could discuss their child with her was enough to make him happy. Even though he knew better than Gu Mingming that there would be no child between them. Then, what happened after that? Gregory smiled and continued to ask. He wanted to hear more from Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming said, "After the fairy's mother brought the fairy back to the heavenly court, the fairy cried non-stop and washed her face with tears every day. The cowherd on the ground also missed his wife very much, but he could not do anything about it. After that, a cow in their family became a demon and told the cowherd that he could go up to the heavens to meet the weaver maiden if he were to skin the cow and wear it. The cowherd did as he was told, then carried a pole and brought his children up to the heavens to meet the weaver maiden. After the Queen Mother of the West knew about it, she flew into a rage and used her hairpin to draw a line. Then a galaxy appeared between the cowherd and the weaver maiden. There it's the galaxy formed by the stars in the sky. It was boundless and could not be crossed. After that, a group of magpies could not stand it any longer. Wasn't this mother-in-law a little too hard to please? Although the male prostitute was not very rich, he at least had a house, land and a cow. Besides, they had already given birth to a child. What was the point of forcibly separating them? Therefore they spontaneously built the Magpie Bridge. Every year on the 7th day of the 7th month, they helped the cowherd and the weaver maid cross the Milky Way to meet for one day. After Gu Mingming finished, she chuckled and said, "Actually, I feel that this story is quite tragic, but I don't know why everyone says it's romantic." Then, on Chinese Valentine's Day every year, everyone would use this as a reason to celebrate. Couples all over the world would show off their love and show off their affection. I still can't understand why a couple can only see each other once a year. What's there to celebrate? Gregory smiled and said, all right, that's the end of the story. Go to sleep. We still have to get Love of the Sky tomorrow. Gu Mingming thought about it and nodded. I hope everything goes smoothly. Chapter 1480. The next morning, Gu Mingming did not need Gregory to wake her up as she had already woken up. The moment she opened her eyes, she met Gregory's gaze. She was in a daze for a moment before smiling. Hi, good morning. Baby Meng, good morning. Gregory replied with a smile before standing up to add 5 ice cups into the pot. He turned around to tidy up the beast's skin on Gu Mingming and said, the wind is much weaker now. After you wash up and eat something, I will bring you to fly around the Moda Mountains and let you see the scenery. Gu Mingming nodded. Gu Mingming smiled and nodded. I just mentioned it casually that day. You still remember it? Gregory smiled faintly and nodded. I remember what I promised you. Gu Mingming punched Gregory's chest and smiled mischievously. Oh, you're such a warm guy. Gregory covered her little fist and pressed it against his heart. He said softly, only you will be the only one who will warm up. Because she was going to get the Love of the Sky today, Gu Mingming was a little excited. She did not want to eat and wanted to set off immediately. However, Gregory did not agree and said that she had to eat first or else he would not bring her out. Her heart was full of resentment. She pestered Grace with soft and hard tactics, but when she was pestering him, Grace forced her to eat a whole rabbit bite by bite. Only then was he done. Come up. Gregory stood at the entrance of the cave with his back facing Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming climbed onto Gregory's back without saying a word. It was easy to form habits. She still remembered how uncomfortable she was when she first got on Gregory's back and how awkward she was. Now she felt more at ease. This is my first time flying in a half-orc form. I don't know if I can control it well, so hold on tight. If I transform into my beast form midway, don't hesitate and grab onto my feathers tightly. Do you understand? Gregory reminded her. Gu Mingming nodded in agreement. Gregory did not seem assured and reminded her again. Don't be afraid even if I can't catch you. I will definitely catch you. I know. Gu Mingming smiled sweetly and hung onto Gregory's back. She wrapped her arms around his neck and wrapped her legs around his waist. Her little head rested on his shoulder just like a mischievous little monkey. Gregory transformed his hands into wings and flapped them twice. Then, with a push of his feet, he soared into the sky. The wind howled on both sides. Gregory did not seem to be used to flying in his half-beast form, but his bird-like instincts allowed him to find a balance very quickly. Not long after, he was flying steadily and steadily. Gu Mingming was extremely surprised. She had sat on a plane before but not outside it. Moreover, the plane would not be controlled by her like Gregory. She could fly anywhere she wanted. What? The scenery in front of her retreated rapidly. Although the wind had stopped, the cold air was still there. It did not feel cold when it blew on Gu Mingming's face, just refreshing. Gregory led Gu Mingming in circles above the Moda Mountains. The map that they had been flying on for 10 years seemed especially different today. The sun was shining brightly, the wind was warm, and the beauty was on his back. What more could he ask for? If it could always be like this, how good would it be? It's about time, let's go get Love of the Sky. Gregory tilted his head and said to Gu Mingming. In the past, Gregory had always flown with her in his beast form. Her entire body would be covered by his feathers and her vision would be obstructed. This was the first time she had flown so freely and it felt rather exciting. It was a pity to stop like this, but getting Love of the Sky was a serious matter and could not be delayed. So Gu Mingming tilted her head and smiled. Alright then, let's get Love of the Sky first. After we get it, if there's still no wind, bring me to fly another 2 rounds, alright? Aside from the topic, previously she had stayed up too long to save up her chapters. Now her left eye was bloodshot and frighteningly red. But she had already taken out all her saved chapters during the explosive update. Now she could not rest even if she wanted to, she could not possibly stop updating. Beauty, the new month had just begun and she had already received 30 monthly tickets. Susu was overwhelmed by the favor. Seeing that all of you like me so much, no matter how hard it was all worth it. There were no more explosive updates for the time being. Susu had to rest her eyes to ensure that the updates were stable. Chapter 1481. Gregory's lips curled into a bitter smile, but he still nodded and said, all right. Gu Mingming was behind Gregory and could not see his expression clearly. She only heard him instruct again, I'm going to transform, hold on tight. Yeah. Gu Mingming was in a state of excitement, even her reply was full of vigor. Gregory transformed into his full beast form in the air and Gu Mingming could not hold onto his overly broad shoulders, so she could only slide down to his shoulder blade and grab onto his feathers to stabilize her body. Her vision was obstructed and she could not see the situation outside, but she could feel that Gregory was flying upwards at a very steep incline. She didn't know if it was because she was close to love of the sky or because she had just experienced the pleasure of flying, but she felt that it was very exciting. She exclaimed loudly and excitedly as if she was riding a roller coaster. Her screams caused Gregory's adrenaline to surge. The height that he usually had to fly to alone was now filled with energy and he rushed up in an instant. When he landed firmly, Gregory heaved a long sigh of relief. He transformed into a human and put Gu Mingming down. Gu Mingming looked around curiously and realized that this was the peak of the mountain that looked like a snake from afar. There were two huge caves on both sides that looked like the eyes of a snake. Gu Mingming leaned towards one of the caves curiously and felt that it was pitch black. There was light but it could not reach the inside of the cave. Cold air slowly flowed out from the entrance of the cave. Gu Mingming squinted her eyes and could only see that there seemed to be something sealed in ice in the depths of the cave. What's there? Gu Mingming asked Gregory. Gregory smiled and did not answer. He just pulled Gu Mingming to the other side and said, "Love of the sky is not in the cave, don't go over there. I'll just take a look." Gu Mingming was curious. Since she had already come up, she had to take a look. Take a look after taking love of the sky. I'm afraid that it will be troublesome if the wind blows. Gregory still pulled Gu Mingming and did not let her go over. Gu Mingming did not insist. She thought that it was more important to settle the serious matters first. So Gu Mingming followed Gregory to the center. There was a depression in the middle of the two snake eyes. The temporary melting of the snow had resulted in a puddle of clear water. Gu Mingming reached out her hand to touch it, but was stopped by Gregory. He shook his head and said, "If you touch water formed from thousand-year ice, you can't keep this hand." Then, Gu Mingming was confused. "Leave it to me." With that, Gregory pulled Gu Mingming behind him. Then he transformed his hands into wings and flapped them with all his might. The puddle of water was blown out and splashed outside the pit. The moment it touched the ground, it froze into a thin layer of sparkling ice crystals. Gu Mingming leaned on Gregory's shoulder and watched as the water droplets flew out like fireworks. Like a curious child, she smiled happily and said, "You're amazing, brother." Gregory smiled indulgently and helplessly and said, "Love of the sky is over there, go and take it." Gu Mingming crawled out from behind Gregory and stretched her body towards the depression. Indeed, she saw a pair of wings that looked like transparent ice sculptures lying flat on the ground. The size was huge and it felt like it was 2 sizes bigger than Gregory's wings. Chapter 1482. Gu Mingming squatted down and reached out to touch that wing. It was very strange. She could clearly see it but she could not touch it. There was a sense of déjà vu but it felt like air. Gu Mingming turned back to look at Gregory in confusion. Gregory said, "Lie down and use your back to touch the wing." Gu Mingming did as she was told. Then she laid on the ground with her back facing the sky. Then a piercing pain pierced through her heart. Bah! Gu Mingming felt something piercing through her shoulder blade. In that instant she was in so much pain that her entire body convulsed and screamed. "Baby Ming." Gregory's eyes turned red from Gu Mingming's heart-wrenching scream. He wanted to go forward to pull Gu Mingming up but he could not get close to her at all. With Gu Mingming as the eye of the wind, a huge ring of wind rapidly expanded outwards, sweeping up everything in this world as it spiraled upwards. A visible tornado was formed just like that. Gregory withstood the sharp wind and approached Gu Mingming with difficulty step by step. Even when the remnant ice of the tornado cut through his skin like countless blades, he did not take a step back and continued to approach Gu Mingming with determination. His baby Ming was screaming in the eye of the wind. He had to go over and protect her. He had promised her that he would protect her no matter what, so he had to go over. The sharp shards of ice attacked him at lightning speed. He barely avoided the fatal shard of ice that was aimed at his neck but could not avoid the shard of ice that was aimed at his eye. The wind was too strong and the ice was too sharp. Before he could even feel the pain, blood had already flowed down from the corner of his eye. His heart was completely in the eye of the wind as Gu Mingming screamed. Gregory did not even realize that one of his eyes was already blind. The ring of wind continued to expand and the wind grew stronger. Even Gregory had never experienced such a level of wind in the past 10 years. If not for the fact that the eye of the wind was Gu Mingming, he would have been blown away. Every step was difficult, but he did not take a step back. When Gregory's fingertips finally touched Gu Mingming, his heart that was in his throat finally calmed down. Clenching his teeth, he took a step forward and hugged Gu Mingming in his arms. She must be in so much pain that she could not even make a sound after screaming. Her eyes were tightly shut and her forehead was covered in sweat. The veins on her temples were clearly visible. She clenched her fists tightly and blood dripped from her palms. It was obvious that her nails were embedded into her flesh. Baby Meng, Baby Meng. Gregory anxiously called her name and held her tightly in his arms. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Gregory opened his arms and transformed them into wings, wrapping Gu Mingming tightly in his arms. Then he walked out of the storm one step at a time. When they arrived at the edge of the cave that Gu Mingming wanted to see, Gregory's wings had already been sliced into pieces by the ice shards. His flesh was badly mutilated and it was a horrible sight to behold. He placed Gu Mingming, who had fainted from the pain, on the ground and knelt in front of a statue that was sealed in ice. He prayed sincerely. Please transfer all the pain that Gu Mingming had suffered to me. I am willing to suffer double the pain in exchange for her safety. The howling wind gradually calmed down. Gregory endured the injuries all over his body and tied Gu Mingming tightly to his back with the beast's skin. He ignored the countless wounds on his wings that were so deep that the bones could be seen and spread his wings forcefully to fly. Chapter 1483. When Gu Mingming woke up, Elvis was sprinting with her in his arms. Elvis rarely sprinted like this. In the past, no matter how they rushed, Elvis would always be able to do it with ease. He had never been in such a pathetic state. He did not look like he was rushing, he looked like he was running away. Leah followed closely behind Elvis. Both of them were extremely focused on what was in front of them. Their feet did not stop for even a moment. Only a series of light footprints were left on the loose snow, showing how fast they were running. It was as if they were flying across the snow. Gu Mingming was in a daze for a moment. She ignored the oncoming cold wind and struggled to stand up. She surveyed her surroundings and confirmed that she was still within the boundaries of the Mota Mountains. Elvis and Leah were still around, but Gregory and Wabi were nowhere to be seen. Where are they? Gu Mingming asked with a frown. Her words caused Elvis and Leah to stop in their tracks and sink into the snow. The snow was up to their chest, but the two of them did not seem to feel it. They looked at Gu Mingming with a deep gaze. Gu Mingming could clearly see Elvis's jaw muscles bulging up and down, as if he was gritting his teeth and deliberating over something. Something happened, right? Gu Mingming narrowed her eyes. I could not have jumped down by myself, so Gregory must have handed me over to you. But he was not with you. Under normal circumstances, even if he did not request it, you and Leah would not carry me and run in the snow instead of letting Gregory carry me on a more comfortable path. So, something happened to Gregory? After Gu Mingming said that, her gaze swept across Elvis and Lee's faces. They were silent because they had promised not to lie to her. So, Gu Mingming guessed correctly. Taking a deep breath, Gu Mingming continued. What about Wabi? Something happened to him too, right? Judging from the way the two of you ran just now, there must be danger behind us. Under such circumstances, as long as Wabi was not dead, he would not leave me behind. So now he is either dead or in a situation worse than death. Otherwise, even if he was frozen stiff, the two of you would not leave him behind. After all, if something happened to little shit, I would definitely be upset. And the two of you would not do anything that would upset me unless it was absolutely necessary. Tell me what happened to them. Gu Mingming stared into their eyes and asked. Mingming, we only have half a day's time to run out. After half a day the wind will rise again. That kind of cold is not something that we can endure. So within half a day we have to leave the Mota mountain range. I will explain to you after we get out, alright? Leah tried to persuade Gu Mingming, but she shook her head and said, both of you leave first. Xiaoming, stop fooling around. Elvis said coldly. Gu Mingming hugged Elvis tightly and said, I don't know what happened to Gregory, but it must be because of me. Since he's under my name now, I can't leave him to face danger alone. As for little shit, I promised before I came in that as long as I still have a breath left in me, I will bring him out the same way I brought him in. Gregory is at the highest peak of the Mota Mountains. You can't even reach him. Elvis hugged Gu Mingming tightly and said, Xiaoming, listen to me. Let's go first. Gu Mingming shook her head and smiled. You guys can't go up, but I can. Chapter 1484. Gu Mingming circled one round before saying, "You and Leah leave Moda Mountains first, I will go back to look for Gregory and little shit. Believe me, I know my life is related to yours, so I will definitely not let myself be in danger. Once I realize that the situation is out of control, I will immediately leave." Elvis and Leah exchanged glances and gritted their teeth, finally compromising, "We will accompany you." Gu Mingming shook her head and said, "You said it yourself, Gregory is at the peak of Moda Mountains, the two of you can't even go up. Once the wind blows, the two of you will not be able to unleash your fighting abilities and not be able to help me, I will have to take care of the two of you instead. Listen to me, both of you wait outside first, don't distract me." With that, Gu Mingming turned and flew towards the highest peak of Moda Mountains. That place was easy to recognize, it was the tallest of all the mountains, shaped like a snake. She did not know if it was because Gregory had taught her how to fly after bringing her a few rounds today. Although her first flight was strenuous, it was not difficult. She did not have a good grasp of balance, but at least she did not fall off. Flying was like an instinct, and this instinct came with the wings, it had nothing to do with her. Elvis and the rest did not know how long they had been running, but Gu Mingming only flew for about 20 minutes before returning to the peak of Moda Mountains. And when she saw Gregory, she was completely stunned. Tears could not help but fall down her face, her heart was clenched so tightly that it hurt. That was the kind of heartache that caused tears to fall one by one before she could even sniffle. Gregory, it was a simple word, but it made the person who had his back to her stiffen. He did not turn back, he just said with difficulty, "We agreed that you would leave after taking the love of the sky, and you are not allowed to turn back. Why did you come back? You are my male, how can I abandon you and leave alone?" Gu Mingming replied Gregory with a thick sobbing tone. She walked step by step towards the back view that was covered in wounds. There were so many wounds on his body, so many that she could not even count them clearly. His entire body was bleeding, as if he was not afraid that he would not stop bleeding until his blood ran dry. And the most shocking thing was the two hideous wounds on his shoulder blades. His wings were gone. The wings, which were supposed to be as strong and powerful as the heavenly ambassador, were now only left with two badly mangled wounds. She did not dare to ask. She did not dare to ask where his wings had gone. She could only hold back her tears and said, "Gregory, I'm back for you. Come with me, okay? Baby Meng, don't come over." Gregory did not turn his head at all, only facing his back to her. The pride of a male allowed him to endure all the pain without shedding a single tear, but her appearance easily destroyed his psychological defense. All his indestructibility was shattered into dust when she said, "I'm back to pick you up." Chapter 1485. Why do you want me to leave? Why can't we leave together? Gu Mingming could not hold back her tears. She wiped her face harshly and sniffled. Then she begged, "Gregory, didn't you say that I am the most important thing to you? Didn't you say that as long as I coax you, you will listen to everything I say? I will coax you now, I can coax you however I want. Leave with me, all right?" Gregory's voice was choked with sobs and he could not help but tremble. He said, "Baby Meng, be good. Don't cry. Now, I can no longer hug you to comfort you. It's all right. It's all right if you can't hug me. I can hug you. Let me hug you. I won't cry if I hug you, all right?" Gu Mingming tried to take another step forward. Gregory growled, "If you come any closer, I can only jump down from here. Don't be rash. I won't go over. I won't go over, all right?" Gu Mingming was so scared that she did not dare to take another step back. She was afraid that he would really jump down in agitation. She even took a step back. "I'm going back, going back. Please don't jump. You don't have wings now. Although I can fly, I'm not good at it. I'm afraid I can't catch you. I'm timid. Don't scare me. I beg you, sob sob. I'm scared. I won't jump if you don't come over. So don't be afraid. Don't make my heart ache. Be good. Leave before the wind rises, all right?" Gregory's words were coaxing, sincere and even pleading. Gu Mingming shook her head. "Leave with me. I'll bring you along before the wind rises. Aren't you waiting for me to like you? I like you, all right? Leave with me. I will definitely like you properly in the future. I will treat you very, very well. Leave with me. I beg you. All right?" Gregory sighed deeply and said helplessly, "I've said it before, I don't want to show a pitiful look in front of you to gain your sympathy. So, don't say that you like me at a time like this. Let me preserve my last pride as a bird, okay?" No, 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 no. What bullsh*t pride, how much is it worth?" Gu Mingming shouted hysterically, As long as you come with me, I don't want any pride or self-respect. I'll give them all to you. I just beg you to come with me. This was the Moda Mountains. Now that Gregory had no wings and was covered in injuries, it was obvious what would happen to him if he stayed. Gu Mingming was already carrying Snake's life. She could not afford to carry Gregory's life anymore. She was the one who wanted the love of the sky. If there was a price to be paid, she should be the one to pay. Why should others suffer for her? Why should others pay for her life? She didn't want it, she didn't want it. Baby Meng, don't be like this. Gregory's back was facing Gu Mingming the entire time. He took 2 deep breaths to force himself to sound as though he was calm. Then he slowly said, "Between us, it has always been a countdown. Regardless of whether it was in Sadr or later on in the Moda Mountains, I was always counting down the days when I would lose you. It's better this way, at least I don't have to worry about losing you in the next second." Chapter 1486. Baby Meng, be good, stop fooling around. Gregory lowered his head. My life started from the day I met you. You gave me the meaning of living. This situation now is the happiest for me. Because I have loved you completely for my entire life, and you have also made me happy for my entire life. What nonsense are you talking about? Our lives are still very long. Follow me and I will tell you how long a lifetime is. Gregory shook his head. Baby Meng, I lied to you. Gu Mingming was taken aback. I don't mind. I forgive you. No matter what you lied to me, I will not be angry at you. Really, I'm really not angry. So, come with me, okay? Gregory replied. Actually, I knew from the start that I would not be able to leave after you obtained the love of the sky. Gu Mingming was stunned. Countless moments of their conversation replayed in her mind. He was always perfunctory. He said that after she obtained the love of the sky, he would stay in the Moda Mountains to fulfill his responsibilities as a leader. He said that he would wait for the dry season for her to come to the Moda Mountains to avoid the heat and reunite with him. He even said that he would fly down the mountains to look for her when he was free. She had felt that something was off then. Now, it seemed like he was just being perfunctory. No wonder every time she asked him to leave with her, he would either change the topic or not respond. From the start, he knew what kind of price someone had to pay for her to obtain the love of the sky. So he had planned to die for her from the start? The funny thing was, she was still eagerly counting down the days. Day after day, she waited in front of him for the day the wind stopped. She looked forward to obtaining the love of the sky as soon as possible. What she was looking forward to was not the love of the sky. What she was looking forward to was Gregory's death. What kind of emotions did he harbor when he brought her to fly 2 rounds in the sky? What kind of emotions did he harbor when he told her, "There's not much time left. Let's go and obtain the love of the sky first"? What kind of emotions did he harbor when he heard her say, "If you are still not angry after obtaining the love of the sky, let's fly 2 more rounds"? And what kind of emotions did he use to reply her with, "All right"? Damn it, Gu Mingming had never felt so terrible before. What had she done? I lied to you about the love of the sky. Gregory slowly opened his mouth and said, that bird did not fall in love with the beast, but with the previous messenger of the beast deity. He didn't leave behind his wings and the beast to fly far away to live a peaceful and happy life. Instead, he stayed here to watch over someone for her. Wait for that strand of soul to return. Gu Mingming was at a loss and did not know how to react. She could only listen to Gregory's words in a daze. You wanted to enter, but I didn't let you enter the cave. That's the real body of the bird, the one without wings. Gregory sighed and continued, according to legend, this mountain was transformed from the most beloved partner of the previous messenger of the beast deity after her death. His body and soul were scattered all over the beast world and he needed to wait for a fated person to collect them again. When everything was back in place, the partner she loved the most would be resurrected. So, the previous messenger of the beast deity arranged for different people to guard different places to protect that person's body and soul. Chapter 1487. The marriage agreement between the vulture tribe and that great one was set because of this. Gregory purposely spoke in a relaxed tone, as if he was talking about something unrelated to his life. But no matter how he tried to play it down, he could not change the cruel truth. To be able to hear that great one's messenger's summons, that is the inheritance of the bloodline. Only this bloodline can keep this mountain under control. So, this pair of wings that I took was exchanged with your wings, right? Gu Mingming uttered this most direct conclusion word by word. Gregory hesitated. He did not want Gu Mingming to face such a situation, so he sent her away while she was unconscious. He thought that the next time she returned would be during the dry season next year. By then, even if she knew that he had died, a year had already passed and she would not be so upset. Or even, in this year she would meet new people and new things. Perhaps by then she would have already forgotten that there was someone waiting for her to escape from the heat, on Mota Mountains and live a carefree life. Although being forgotten sounded tragic. But at least she was happy. Gregory felt that that was good enough. But he didn't expect her to come back so quickly. Before he had time to clean up his mess and get rid of all the evidence, she actually came back. There was no use in denying it now. Everything was laid out before him. What was the use of denying it? Nodding his head with difficulty, Gregory spat out a single word, yes. Gu Mingming fell violently, as if she was suddenly weightless after using a thin fishing line to tie a 500-kilogram weight. A bloody wound appeared on her heart, but that pain could not compare to Gregory's bloodied back view in front of her. I don't want it anymore. I will return this pair of wings to him and let him continue to keep this mountain under control. I don't want the love of the sky anymore. I don't want it anymore. I want you. Come with me, all right? Baby Meng, don't say such willful words. My wings are already broken. The pair on your body is no longer the love of the sky. Mine is. This kind of thing cannot be reversed. It cannot be returned just because you say so. Gregory sighed and slowly said, I haven't finished talking about the legend. Gregory paused for a moment as if he was trying to catch his breath. He then coughed twice before continuing. It was said that as long as the partner of the messenger of the beast deity could be revived, then the bird guarding this place would also be reborn. Now, my wings have replaced his and become the new love of the sky, and I will go to another cave to start the ritual. Then I will be like him, guarding this mountain without wings. So don't be sad, this is not a situation where death is certain. Perhaps. You're trying to trick me again. Gu Mingming interrupted Gregory's words and shouted at the top of her lungs, How are you going to lie to me this time? Tell me, can whales be resurrected? Then your wings will grow back and then you can come back to me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? I'm not lying to you this time. I'm telling the truth, Grace explained. Chapter 1488. Gregory's back stiffened and he could not move at all. Gu Mingming smiled, cried and pleaded, Look, you don't even dare to turn around to look at me. Are you afraid that I will expose your lies, or are you afraid that you will not be able to resist and leave with me when you see me? Gregory, you said you like me, is that true? You like me so much, why are you not willing to turn around to look at me? Do you know how sad I am right now? How helpless, how terrified I am. Look at me, look into my eyes and tell me you don't care. Even if I cry myself to death here, you won't care. Baby Meng, stop fooling around. Gregory's tone was filled with helplessness. If it was possible, why would he not want to look at her one more time? Suddenly the ground shook and Gu Mingming fell to the ground. Her scream finally caused Gregory to panic and he suddenly turned around to look towards the direction of the sound. Gu Mingming fell to the ground and was stunned when she saw Gregory's face. Baby Meng? Where are you? Are you okay? Answer me, hurry. Gregory hurriedly walked towards the direction of her voice, but he did not see her sitting on the ground. He directly walked past her, as if he did not realize that there was a bottomless abyss in front of him. He only called out her name anxiously, Baby Meng, don't scare me, where are you? Gregory, I am here. Gu Mingming finally could not control her tears anymore. She wanted to put up a brave front and did not want Gregory to think that she was pitying him, so she tried her best not to mention the wings and also tried her best not to cry too obviously. But now she could not hold it in anymore. Gregory's eyes, that pair of eyes that could accurately find her the size of a sesame seed from 6,000 meters high in the sky, now only had 2 bloody holes left. He was crying just now because of her pleading, because of her pestering, because of her persistence, and what he was crying was not tears but blood. From those eyes, the blood turned into tears and flowed down his entire face. Hearing Gu Mingming's voice, Gregory heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Mingming could feel that even his breathing was trembling. Gregory turned around and felt his way to Gu Mingming's side. He asked gently, What happened? Did you fall and hurt yourself? Does it hurt? Why is his tone like this? Just how serious is his injury? Baby Meng, be obedient and go look for Leah, alright? His medical skills are excellent, he can definitely cure you. Gu Mingming reached out and wrapped her arms around Gregory's neck. She hated the smell of blood. It had been since that weird bonfire party during her coming-of-age ceremony. That was why Elvis and Leah did not even allow their tribesmen to bring their prey back to the tribe to be processed. Instead, they would directly process it outside and bring back clean meat. After the incident with Snake, she had become even more resistant to the smell of blood and would usually avoid it as far as possible. But today, the smell of blood did not make her feel afraid or disgusted. Instead, it made her heart ache. He was injured to this extent, but he didn't even frown, but because of her fall, he was confused. Yeah, I'm hurt. It hurts so much. Gregory, stay with me, okay? I'm begging you, I'm injured. Is my leg going to break? It's bleeding? Actually, it was just a scratch. Chapter 1489. It was just that she was too concerned. I recognized this mountain when I flew back, but if I fly out, I won't be able to find the way. If you don't accompany me, I will definitely be trapped in Moda Mountains and I'm injured. Will I die from excessive blood loss on the way? Gregory, I'm scared. Accompany me, just send me out of Moda Mountains, just send me, alright? It's so painful, it's really painful. As Gu Mingming said that, she wrapped her arms around Gregory's neck tightly and refused to let go. He clearly had no arms and could not push her away, but she was so afraid that he would struggle free, so she just hugged his neck tightly and begged him coquettishly, sobbing into his ears, hoping to soften his heart. As long as he was willing to follow her down the mountain and out of the Moda Mountains, even if she had to knock him unconscious and tie him up, she would definitely keep him by her side and not let him die on the Moda Mountains. Gregory's body was extremely stiff. Not only was he suffering from the pain of his broken wings, being blinded and his body full of injuries, he was also suffering from the pain of having a new wing, and it was twice as painful as hers. But all the pain seemed so insignificant in front of her hug. Every cell in his body was in so much pain that his organs felt like they were on fire. But seeing her clinging to him like that, he had never felt so blissful in his life. I will arrange for a member of the bird tribe to lead the way and send you out. Without his arms, he could not push her away, but he could not hug her either. This was the first time she had such a strong desire for his embrace, but he could not give her any reciprocation. If there were regrets, this could be considered one. You also felt the tremor just now, right? I must immediately activate the sacrificial ritual, or else this mountain will collapse. By then, my wings would have been broken for nothing, and the entire bird tribe would have to die. Most importantly, once that happened, Gu Mingming and her partner would not be able to leave. Promise me, don't take off the feathers on your ears. Because I will become the wind and blow those feathers to tell you that I still love you, that I miss you very much, that I am watching over you. Gu Mingming shook her head. Her throat felt like it was being forcefully choked by a hand, and she could not make a single sound. I lived for you and I will die for you. Baby Ming, I've loved you my whole life. This is the thing I'm most proud of. I won't. Gu Mingming cried so hard that she could not breathe. She hugged Gregory tightly and refused to let go. Even if I have to tie you up, I will tie you up. I don't care if this mountain collapses or not, I just don't want you to die. Gregory sighed and said, Baby Ming, I didn't make myself look like this just to make you cry. Be good and smile, okay? Although I can't see, as long as you're smiling, I will feel very happy. Since Gu Mingming did not reply, Gregory knew that she must be crying miserably. He smiled and said helplessly, To be able to see you cry for me once before I die, I can die without regrets. I won't allow you to die. Gu Mingming almost fainted from crying and her voice was hoarse. I won't die, Gregory promised. I'm only guarding this mountain and waiting for the legendary lord to revive. When that time comes, I will definitely look for you. I'm still waiting for you to like me. I'm still waiting for the next sunny day to bring you to soar in the sky and look down on the beast world. How can I bear to die? Am I right? I don't want you to guard the mountain, I want you to watch over me. Gu Mingming had already cried until her nose was blocked. She could not breathe when she spoke, so her words were choppy. Aside from the topic, that's all for today, I'll continue tomorrow. How should I put it? I also don't know what I'm after. Her eyes were already bloodshot, and when she wrote this paragraph, she could not control her emotions. Chapter 1490. I will become the wind and always protect you. I promise. Gregory promised. I don't believe you, you lied to me again. Gregory smiled bitterly and said, I swear if I lie to you again, I will be alone for the rest of my life and never see you again. Look, I lied to you last time, so I made the vow to break my wings and become blind. Looks like my vow is quite effective. I care so much about you, never seeing you again is the most vicious vow. So, believe me one more time, alright? The ground shook violently again and Gregory could not hug Gu Mingming. He could only use both his legs to stabilize himself so that Gu Mingming would not get hurt because of the shaking. Baby Ming, I really don't have much time left. Be good and leave now. I don't want to leave you alone. Leave with me together. Gregory clenched his teeth and closed his eyes to pray silently. Then the wings behind Gu Mingming suddenly spread open. The force was so strong that it could not be resisted and Gu Mingming was directly brought to the sky by those wings. Gregory. Gregory. Gu Mingming's heart-wrenching scream rang through the sky. But Gregory stood on the spot and smiled bitterly at the direction where Gu Mingming's voice disappeared. He said, Baby Ming, the cowherd and weaver girl are not actually tragic. At least they can still meet once a year. That is something worth celebrating. Fifth. I can really return to your side one day. Let's also celebrate Chinese Valentine's Day, alright? The distance was too far and Gu Mingming could no longer hear what he said. And Gregory was very clear that he could not wait for Gu Mingming's reply. So, he just stood there for a while before walking steadily towards the cave on the other side of the mountain peak. It was said that the two caves on the mountain peak were originally the mouth of a volcano. One of them had been guarded by Wang Xiaoxin's flying partner for thousands of years, while the other, Gregory, stood at the mouth of the lava and took a deep breath. With a smile on his face, his mind was filled with Gu Mingming's voice and smile these few days. Even if he died he would have no regrets. Males in the beast world were never afraid of death. Dying for the female they loved was a supreme glory. Although it was a small mistake to let Gu Mingming see his pathetic state at the end, it did not matter. If he could return from nirvana one day, he would use an even stronger version of himself to erase the blemish left behind today. Birds had their own pride. He didn't want his baby Meng to remember him as a useless cripple in the future. Without hesitation or fear, Gregory leaped into the lava. The magma boiled and then gushed out. From afar, it looked like fresh blood was flowing out of one of the giant snake's eyes. This was the second time Moto had cried blood. The last time it happened was when love of the sky became the sect's guardian treasure. When Gu Mingming saw the lava flowing out from the snake's eye, she knew what had happened. Her vision darkened and she fainted. So what she didn't know was that after the lava stopped flowing, a statue wrapped in lava slowly rose from the cave and finally blocked the entrance. Just like the statue in the other cave, it guarded the highest peak of the Mota Mountains. When Gu Mingming woke up again, she was already at the borders of the Mota Mountains. Chapter 1491. Gu Mingming opened her eyes and rubbed her throbbing temples. She pulled her lips and tried her best to smile. Li's heart ached terribly. He hugged Gu Mingming and said, "Don't smile if you are not feeling well. Who are you putting on a brave front for?" Gu Mingming's throat was hurting badly. Luckily, Elvis had already prepared some water for Gu Mingming so that she could drink a few mouthfuls to moisten her throat. Mota Mountains had already regained its peace. Gu Mingming did not need to ask to know how long she had been unconscious. No matter what Gregory wanted to do, he had already succeeded. She could not stop him. It was too late. Gregory was the real heartless one. He was forcing her to believe in the legend. But what else could she do if she did not believe it? She could say that she was lying to herself or was superstitious. She could only believe that when Wales was resurrected, Gregory would also return. Touching the feathers on her ears, Gu Mingming did not say a word and just smiled faintly. He said that even if he could not see, he would feel blissful as long as she smiled. Then she would smile for him to see. Where's Wabi? He's not back yet? Gu Mingming did not mention Gregory at all. Elvis and Leah naturally would not ask for it. Seeing that she had changed the topic, they just thought that she was unwilling to talk about that sad matter. Gu Mingming had always been sentimental. Elvis and Leah could still remember how depressed she had been when Snake died. In comparison, Gu Mingming's current reaction was already considered good. He's not back yet, but he probably won't be back. Elvis and Leah could not finish the second half of the sentence. Gu Mingming rubbed her forehead and said, "What exactly happened inside? You two tell me." Elvis and Leah exchanged glances but neither of them said a word. Oriton remained silent for a moment before saying, "I'll go hunting first." Leah seemed to have found an excuse and smiled. You must not have eaten any delicious food these days in the mountains. I'll go with Oriton and pick some of your favorite food to cook for you." With that, he left without another word. Gu Mingming knew that he was hiding from her, afraid that she would question him. Gu Mingming nestled in Elvis's arms and remained silent for a moment before saying, "Tell me, I don't have the energy to waste now and I don't want to waste my energy to guess blindly." Elvis hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Not long after we reached the foot of that mountain, Wabi suddenly went berserk. His eyes were bloodshot and he started attacking randomly without differentiating between friend and foe. Leah and I tried to control him but to no avail. Didn't succeed." Gu Mingming did not understand. By right, although Wabi was strong, he was only a 5th level beast. Elvis was a beast king, there was no reason for him to lose. Moreover, with Li's help, how could the two of them not be able to subdue one Wabi? Gu Mingming felt very strange. Elvis nodded and said, "The closer Wabi got to that mountain, the stranger it got. At first he was just irritated, but then he started to lose control. He said, it was as if something was calling out to him, causing him to lose control." That mountain. Gu Mingming muttered with a frown, but she could not think of anything. Chapter 1492. A secret tunnel that only snakes could pass through? Gu Mingming's head hurt terribly. Before entering, Wabi had mentioned that he had a strange feeling about the Mota Mountains. She had even asked him if he had been here before, but Wabi said he had no recollection. But there was a snake tunnel here, and Wabi easily found the entrance in this snow-covered mountain range. Led by something, Gu Mingming's mind suddenly exploded. She suddenly recalled that Wabi had asked her before entering, did the shape of this mountain resemble him? At that time, Gu Mingming had even teased him, saying that didn't all snakes look the same? If it was snake he would also look the same. Wabi didn't say anything back then, but Gu Mingming knew that all snakes looked the same to her, but snakes could differentiate the details. Just like the mark on the back of her neck. She, Elvis and Leah couldn't see any changes, but Wabi could tell at one glance that it wasn't the mark left behind by Snake. Perhaps, Gu Mingming frowned and grabbed Elvis's hand. "Let's go see father. I have to go see him." "No," Elvis said worriedly. "It's not safe here. If we sleep together, Leah and Orton can't take care of us. Then I'll go by myself," Gu Mingming said. Elvis pursed his lips. "How about this, when Leah comes back you can eat something first. At least don't starve. Then I'll find a cave to settle down in, and we'll go see the beast deity together, alright?" Gu Mingming knew that she had obtained the love of the sky, which meant that the doors of time and space were just one step away from opening. Elvis was probably getting more and more uneasy. "Alright." Gu Mingming didn't insist. 2 days ago, Gregory had told her that Elvis and Leah had already reached the foot of the mountain. That meant that Wabi had been in trouble for at least 2 days. No matter how anxious she was, she wouldn't be in a short period of time. Because of Gregory, Elvis and Leah were already very worried. She couldn't make them even more uneasy. Leah had brought back many of Gu Mingming's favorite fruits. After washing them with the chilly water from the stream, they were as refreshing and sweet as if they had been chilled. Elvis told Leah that Gu Mingming was going to see the beast deity. Was not surprised. He just reminded Elvis to take good care of Gu Mingming. Even Gu Mingming understood the so-called care. Leah was also afraid that she would do something rash when she was in a bad mood, such as passing through the doors of time and space to return to the modern world without looking back. She would never do this, but Elvis and Leah would never believe it no matter what. After lunch, the group set off in the opposite direction of Mota Mountains. After walking for about half a day, they found a cave that was more suitable for them to stay in temporarily. Elvis and Leah went in to tidy up the place and made a simple bed using the newly tanned beast skin from the afternoon hunt. They then let Elvis hug Gu Mingming to sleep first. Gu Mingming knew that after she fell asleep, Leah would definitely use delicacies as bait to lure Orton to hunt for more and better beast hides so that she could sleep more comfortably. Actually, she felt that there was no need for that because she was really not that delicate now. It would not be a problem even if she directly slept on the ground. But she did not say that out loud. Because she knew that Leah was not like Elvis, who could follow her to the dream realm to meet the beast deity. Being alone, he would definitely be more uneasy. Closing her eyes, the white fog gradually filled the air. Gu Mingming could feel that Elvis was hugging her even more intensely than before. She did not resist and allowed Elvis to hug her like that. Chapter 1493. The beast deity was still standing at the highest point, welcoming her with a smile. Gu Mingming was physically and mentally exhausted. She forced a smile and leaned into the beast deity's arms. She called out softly, "Father, I am back. Oh, my little angel, you are so powerful. You even grew wings." The beast deity said in a teasing tone. Gu Mingming's eyes were dry. She wanted to cry but could not. She did not know if her tears had all been used up on Moda Mountains. She could only feel her nose aching and her eyes aching. "You clearly know what I went through on Moda Mountains, yet you still poke at my heart with those words? I am seriously suspecting whether you are really my biological father now." The beast deity chuckled as if he did not take Gu Mingming's words to heart. He just held her shoulders and brought her to sit on the long bench. He smiled and said, "Look at this place, what's different?" Gu Mingming looked around. The green fungus that was originally only 2 square meters had now become so vast that there was no end to it. Other than when she came, she could not see the white fog anymore. Gu Mingming guessed that the construction of this illusion was almost complete. As long as she obtained the spirit of the rocky cliffs, the doors of time and space would open. By then this place should be in its complete form. But other than the area becoming bigger, Gu Mingming could not see any other difference. The beast deity did not seem disappointed. He pointed to the grass not far away and said, "Look carefully there." Gu Mingming's gaze landed on the grass for a long time. Other than the waves of movement, she really could not see anything special about the grass. Wait a minute, the grass was moving, because there was wind. The feathers on her ears swayed slightly. Gu Mingming's pupils dilated. She looked at the beast deity dumbfounded. Her face was filled with surprise and joy. She did not dare to say the answer out loud, afraid that she was overthinking and rejoicing for nothing. The beast deity seemed to know what she was thinking about. He smiled lovingly and nodded. He said, "Everything he said to you is true. His wings are the new love of the sky. All the wind in the beast world comes from there. He even chased you all the way here just to tell you." The beast deity purposely paused and did not finish his sentence. He just looked at Gu Mingming encouragingly and gestured for her to continue. "He's telling me that he still loves me, that he misses me, that he's watching over me." The beast deity nodded and said, "The separation is temporary. When you gather the 7 treasures and revive that person, Gregory will return. So don't be sad, he is only fulfilling his duty as the leader of the Moda Mountains and protecting them." Gu Mingming covered her face and finally cried out. When she woke up, she didn't dare to cry because Grace said that he would be happy if she smiled, so no matter how sad she was, she still smiled. She forced herself to believe that ridiculous legend because she would break down if she didn't. But the beast deity wouldn't lie, right? He said that Grace was telling the truth, that he would come back. Chapter 1494. Seeing that Gu Mingming had calmed down, the beast deity grinned and said, Come, accompany Daddy to watch a television series." "Daddy, that little shit. Let's talk after watching the television." The beast deity did not let Gu Mingming speak again and just gave Elvis a look. Elvis immediately carried Gu Mingming in his arms and sat on the long bench obediently to accompany the beast deity to watch the television. There was no white fog. The beast deity just waved his hand and a screen appeared out of thin air in front of them. The screen was the scene of Gu Mingming riding on Snake's neck for a slam dunk. Gu Mingming held the ball with both hands and placed it into the basket in a daze. Following the sound of the ball bouncing on the ground, Gu Mingming's heart started beating wildly. She understood that Snake was using the slam dunk incident to tell her that no matter what she wanted to do, he would support her. "Thank you," Gu Mingming said softly. Snake picked up the ball and bounced it a few more times, saying, "I don't accept verbal thanks. I say, Great CEO, I have already sucked up to you to this extent, shouldn't you at least give me a raise?" Gu Mingming burst out laughing at Snake's words. Raise her salary? What raise? Monster Corporation belonged to him and he had given it to her out of the blue. She had no right to speak at all. She knew nothing about the operations and business of the corporation. At most she would be the CEO in name. The real person in charge was clearly the person under her, all right? However, Gu Mingming was still grateful that he was willing to lower himself to tease her. So she raised her chin proudly and said, "All right, I will give you a raise. Let's increase it by 20 yuan, okay?" "All right." Snake smiled exceptionally brightly. He looked up at Gu Mingming and asked, "Do you still want a slam dunk?" Gu Mingming shook her head and said, "Put me down." Snake did not reject her and pinched Gu Mingming's waist to put her down. Gu Mingming wanted to wrap her arms around Snake's neck, but she was not tall enough, so she had an idea and stepped on the basketball. Using the height of the basketball, she managed to wrap her arms around Snake's neck and used his body to stabilize the basketball. Mischievous. Snake frowned slightly and reprimanded her with a face full of affection. Those two simple words were filled with sweetness. What's there to be afraid of? You'll catch me anyway. It's not like I'll fall. Yeah, it's good that you know. Snake was very pleased with Gu Mingming's trust. Gu Mingming pursed her lips before abruptly planting a kiss on Snake's lips. She wanted to run after kissing him. But how would Snake let her have her way? Wrapping his arms around her waist, he lifted her up and pulled her into his embrace. Losing her balance, Gu Mingming instinctively wrapped her legs around Snake's waist, while his hands supported Gu Mingming's but steadily. With this hug, Gu Mingming was even taller than Snake by half a head. Snakel stared at Gu Mingming's blushing face with a smile and teased, "You want to run after flirting with me?" Gu Mingming was so embarrassed that she could not say a word. It was not the first time they kissed, but it was the first time she took the initiative. Especially after she had just cried and now she was being hugged like this in front of everyone. How long was she going to be laughed at by Lan and the rest before they could forget about today's matter? Gu Mingming felt that she might not be able to face anyone for a period of time. Snake did not mind showing off their love in front of everyone. He could not wait for the whole world to know how good their relationship was. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.